Artur Berlet, a simple tractor driver from the Sarandi Prefecture, Rio Grande do Sul, would become one of the first people on Earth who had traveled on another planet in his case. On the evening of May 14, 1958, around 19 hours, when he was returning from work and passing by the property of Dr. Dionisio Peretti, he saw a strange light in bushes on the property, about 200 meters away. Though he feared what those lights could be, curiosity won and jumped the property fence close to those lights in the bushes. Approaching a few feet from the bright bushes, it was not surprised when he saw a massive 30-meter diameter machine floating behind the bushes. Seeing that machine, the first thought was to run, but the curiosity was stronger, and he came even closer when it began to distinguish a few silhouettes. But it was immediately hit by a ray of light and fainted. When he woke up, he was tied to a bed that resembled a hospital bed, and around him were all kind of strange beings that apparently resembled humans but was not. These beings were much taller than human, and were translucent, and their heads were covered with straw-colored hair. I gave them a few words, even different words from foreign languages, which I remembered from school and the movies I saw, but I was not taken into account. Shortly thereafter, two beings released him from the belts with which he was tied to the bed, and led him to a room where he was given to wear a kind of very long cape. Being helped side by side by those two beings, because he still felt dizzy. The being opened a few doors until they got out of that machine without knowing where he was. I had the impression that I lost half my weight and that I grew up in volume, a very strange feeling. Supported by the two, I stepped out of what I found out that it was a spaceship in what looked like a narrow street flanked by tall, bright, and almost transparent building. They then entered a massive building where, in a room with bright and transparent walls like glass, at a table that seemed to be made of the same material as the walls, they offered him something to eat that looked like beef and bread. His food was served in a transparent container from which he ate with his hand after he was first encouraged by gestures to eat. After eating, he was taken to another room full of different entities. The strange being have tried to communicate with him in a language of incomprehensibility, without success, of course. Artur also said a few words in Portuguese, Spanish, and German. When he spoke a word in German, one of the beings began to shout with great joy, "Deutsch, Deutsch." After this meeting, the one who could speak a few words in German became his host during his visit to that strange world. At that moment he still did not know he was on another planet. The host explained, more by way of gestures, that they are a civilization at 62 million light-years, and that they call themselves Akarksheni, the planet being called Akark. Then he was accommodated in a one-room apartment in another strange building with walls like glass. There was a glass bed, a table, and niche in one of the wall, which seemed to be a toilet, where there was a toilet, a sink, and even a shower. After being shown how all that works, he was invited to take a shower. What he did. The water seemed to be more like gaseous steam than normal water. During his stay there as a guest, the Akarshan host served him twice a day with various dishes, prepared especially for him to match his digestive system. It was served with all sorts of colored liquids, all with a sweet taste, in some glass carafe. It seems that the Akarshans have studied the Earth for a long time because it has been explained to them that they have no problems with unemployment because all Akarshani have work, and that they do not use the money to buy the things they need. He has also learned that there are no offenses on Akark, that Akarshans are a non-violent species from their point of view. After being explained, the big problem of Akarshans was the overpopulation of the planet, although it not seen it with its own eyes, and it was explained that very soon some of the Akarshans would try to settle on Earth, but that they are not yet ready for this. Akarsians are governed by a government and a prime minister with full power, but who is changed by popular elections every 3 Earth years. Due to technological advances, Artur did not really understand how they reproduced. A quark is part of a solar system with only 3 planets, with a very bright sun and no moon. After 11 days, Artur was brought back to the same place where he was taken. Soon after that unusual adventure, even that year, Artur closed himself in his room for few days, in which he wrote a 422-page book describing his adventure. The authenticity of events is also reinforced by the fact that Artur says that he saw the Earth in space as a predominantly blue planet, and at that time no one knew how the Earth looks from space. The first man to see the Earth in space being Yuri Gagarin in 1961. Artur also says that during his stay on a quark he never felt threatened or stressed. Even though his stories raised questions among the people from his village, his family and friends always supported him, Artur being known as a very serious person in his community. Artur, another simple man who was kidnapped by alien, had the privilege of traveling on another planet with friendly aliens and is just one of the thousands who had similar experiences. Before this experience, I've thought our God was a small one because he only created us. But now I realize his greatness and the fact that there are many things in the universe we do not even think of.